As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History. Proudly sponsored by American Family Insurance.
We're counting down to a big day, America's birthday, next summer, 250 years old. Can you believe it?
Doesn't look a day over, what?
100.
240?
240, right. Hey, we are sharing our We the People series, people, places, things of the past that have shaped our country into what we got today. Charlie, what do we got today?
All right, on this day, December 11th, back in 1833, the first newspaper in Wisconsin was published. The paper was the Green Bay Intelligencer, and it was only 4 pages long. John Sudum and A.G. Ellis were the ones to start up the paper as a pair of business partners. The city listed the printing location. It was not Green Bay, but Navarino. Today, Navarino is a small town outside of Green Bay. Population, 440. The Intelligencer focused on reporting developments in the country, especially those west of Lake Michigan. However, news was carried by word of mouth, which led to delays for the paper, plus probably some inaccuracies. Yeah. Those delays made the printing schedule difficult, with the Intelligencer struggling to keep up with current news. Because of these issues and low sales, paper closed after only a few years in 1836. That same year, the next paper in Wisconsin would be printed, which was the Milwaukee Advertiser. The first paper in Madison would come 2 years later, the Wisconsin Inquirer, printing in 1938. That's This Day in History, December 11th.
A little journalism history here in Wisconsin. That's pretty cool.
There you go, yeah.
Way back when. All right, Charlie, thank you for that.